Hazbin Hotel. I remember watching the first season around the time it finished releasing, and my general thoughts were, that was pretty average. A bunch of sex jokes that get tiring, plots that feel way too crammed, and some songs are good. Yeah, average. 5 out of 10, I see potential in this one. And stopped thinking about it too recently when I heard season 2 was airing. So I decided to watch it, and oh boy did this season have some hits, but a lot of misses overall. Yes, this season is better than the first one, but good lord does it have bigger flaws. So let's get this over with. I honestly didn't know what to expect with this season due to how the last one ended. Pentious getting redeemed is huge to the overall plot since, rehabilitating and redeeming a sinner is like the reason the Hazbin Hotel exists to begin with. So obviously, since the people in the hotel don't know this, I would guess they just think Pentious went to the nothingness and are mourning him as normal people would. And I thought it was fine how they handled their mourning, as well as setting up the tone for the season with the Vees as the main antagonist. Mainly Vox. Something I really liked in this same episode was the allegory to the entertainment slash model slash porn industry and its awful sides, as if they weren't awful to begin with, promising this sinner fame and recognition, changing her to fit stereotypes, while as well treating her as a product that once was used up, they throw her away like if she were nothing but trash. I love this representation, as fucked up as it was, showing how these industries will always see them as products and nothing more of value. With this, I couldn't help but feel a little excited. I mean, Velvet was the beauty industry, Valentino was the porn industry, and Vox as the representative of the entertainment industry. I really thought they were gonna get their time to shine and show the awful, cruel, and shitty side to these industries. Kinda like Oshinoko. And yeah, not much after this, I know this is the point of the show, but with how good they did this allegory slash representation, I couldn't help but give myself that idea. My bad there. With how the first episode ended, I started to feel hope, thinking that the second season was going to be much more interesting than the first one. But with the third episode, I started to get a bit conflicted. On the second episode, we get to see a glimpse of heaven with Sir Pentious. Sure, the entire courting and redemption, which I do have a lot to say, was pretty solid. And getting the Pentious backstory was alright, nothing too remarkable for me. And setting up Lud as a potential future season antagonist was alright, even if I also feel conflicted with how her character is going. Her going schizophrenic was Adam and hinting at her loving Adam when I saw them as most as besties in the first season. I don't know, it does feel off. I think this is majorly due to how crammed season 1 is, not letting a lot of the characters really shine, especially the antagonists. Season 1 major flaw has been to me how rushed it felt at the middle point onwards, and I'm glad this is not really an issue with this season. I guess getting greenlit more seasons obviously influenced the pace to being much slower, and that's really good. It gives opportunity to not only flesh out the characters more, but it also gives the time to flesh out more plots with these characters. However, not handled properly, the rushed issues slash plots with the first season will still affect the later seasons, no matter how good they are. Killing off Adam in the first season was okay, but setting up a relationship after his death and now showing more of that relationship when he was still alive. I mean, at least little interaction with Lud showing she genuinely cared for Adam, not something like, getting his halo and throwing it to Lilith in the last scene was indifference to what it is to be the last remains of the guy she quote-unquote loves was a huge miss. Like, not even in this season they expanded much in this. Kinda the same complaint I had with Pentious and Cherry Bomb's relationship. Please don't kill me. Then again, season 1 pacing issues, I guess, it's just the fact that the story doesn't really give more time to explore its characters and relationships more. Angel and Charlie were definitely the highlight of last season, but not much after that. Vaggi felt stale even with her reveal as a fallen angel and her Competex complex. Alastor is mysterious, I guess. Husk is the bartender that knows everything, Niffty is just there, Lucifer has problems communicating with his daughter, and Cherry Bomb is the free soul that loves chaos. Nothing much after this, so trying to pull this even with the sacrifice of Pentious just felt like, can't really get myself to care too much, as harsh as it sounds. As I said, the problem is mainly because of season 1, but I do feel that there were better ways to handle this than just thinking what we got in season 1 was enough to convince most people. And not just this, Charlie used to be more interesting to me in the first season, or at least I liked her a lot more. But this season really does her a disservice, since it makes her look a lot more stupid. Sure, she is naive and inexperienced in many things, but contacting the media overlord for an interview to show them that the redemption is possible. The media overlord, with no proof of it, knowing how much they didn't like her, is just... plain utter stupidity? At least with Heaven, she went slightly prepared to confront them. But to the fucking media overlord, she doesn't prepare shit? Immediately jumps to her phone and calls them over? You can't blame it on the excitement or whatever. It's still just stupid. Vaggi at least tried, and an emphasis on tried, to snap her out of it, as well as Husk later on, just to switch up almost immediately when it comes to redemption? When the obvious thing that Vox would ask for, evidence, is brought up. She says she'll redeem Angel on the spot. Girl, look, I remember you being naive and very impulsive, but to this extent? This is not being naive anymore. This is just being stupid. Why the fuck would she try to redeem someone on the spot without even knowing why it happened? I don't mind the fact that she did trust Emily, since in Charlie's eyes she is on the same boat as her, but why would she just throw herself to the wolves without a solid plan? As well, the Vees have always been throwing shit at her since season 1, so why the fuck would it bother her right now? Again, you could blame it on the excitement, but everything after that should have at least made her reason that she doesn't have something solid to refute them, not cross Angel's boundaries again and make big fools of themselves. And look, this could have happened a bit more naturally. Maybe having the Vees approach the hotel with no prior announcement, not much after knowing Pentious got redeemed, using this opportunity to use Charlie's vulnerable state as her sad revelation would have been nice, as well as setting up the Angel Spy reveal in the future. I feel like with a premise like this, Charlie acting how she did would have made a bit more sense. It wouldn't dump her down a ton, as well as using this opportunity to start setting up the reveal of redemption that comes at the end of the episode with Charlie brainstorming before the Vees arrive. Now yes, I hear you, this episode is meant to make Charlie look bad and show her impulsive side, but in my honest opinion, this didn't do it for me. Even more when she keeps on doing this exact same thing 2 more times. She saw that they don't like her ass and will turn everything against her, and yet she still went to them with no solid plan, then again with the Angels while not telling them who they are dealing with and to be careful with their fucking words. I don't know, it feels like this show is regressing its characters to purposely make them stupid. I don't know if they confused naivety and stupidity while writing the season, but man did they overdid it. Even more so was the redemption reveal, which has been something that has plagued me since the first season. Why would someone open a rehabilitation and redemption hotel in fucking hell without even thinking that maybe, if the person atones for the sins that got them into hell in the first place, as well as changing for the better and becoming a better person, will get them to the pearly gates of heaven? I'm sorry, how was this not the first thing they thought about? As I said, I know this happens for plot. All of this happens for the plot. If they would have come to this conclusion sooner, it would be at max a 3-season story, but purposely dumbing down your characters to this extent for this stuff to happen is just bad writing. There were better ways to setting this up, better ways to come off the same conclusion of the episode without taking away the consequences of this episode, but it chose possibly the worst one of them all, completely making Charlie look stupid as hell. And look, the show having a flawed main character isn't the issue here, it's how it handles it. As I said previously, Charlie was not stupid as season. She was naive and impulsive, which are 2 entirely different things, and you could still kinda pull that excuse here. If it weren't for the fact that she goes to them next episode and makes an even bigger fool of herself and the entire hotel by going completely unprepared to this interview. Mind you, she is dealing with the media overlords. She saw this last fucking episode with how they completely turned the narrative on her and modified every single thing that they recorded to make her look bad. Yeah, the entire "it's live so they can modify it" excuse gets thrown at the beginning of the episode, but still going this unprepared to the interview was just stupid of her part. Mind you, she does this again when the Angels come to dialogue without even telling the Angels to be careful what they say and what they do against the media overlords, the guy that controls the entire news and internet of fucking hell. But okay, Noodlefucker, you have said so much shit. Didn't you say you liked this season more than season 1? You have just been complaining. Yeah, and honestly, episode 3 is possibly the major gripe I have with this season and how they handle Charlie after this, because after this, it barely recovers. Ignoring obviously the Charlie parts. We get Alastor's backstory, which is fine. I expected him to be more evil, I guess. The entire "I want to be more powerful" and howl and making a deal with Rosie was in character for him, and I liked your song too, as well as the reprise. Nifty's song was fun to watch, and Alastor and Vox's fighting was really cool to watch as well. And it also gives what the story needed the most, fleshing out its static characters and villains. I highly think that this season wouldn't have been as good if Fox would have been given the same treatment as the Exterminator last season. It really helps a lot. And I know it's mainly backstories, but it still further expands within these characters well that you actually start giving a fuck about them. This season also addresses something that has been bothering me since last season. You know, we're in hell, and hell is supposed to be a punishment for all the awful people on Earth, so obviously you would expect them to be punished in some way or form, but nothing except was Lucifer. Nice way to nerf the absolute shit out of the ruler of hell, with his punishment being not being able to hurt any civilian, which is pretty cool, but also saddens me that he seems like the only character getting punished and no other sinner seems to really be facing any consequences. You know, with it being hell and all. It's a concept that got introduced and I liked a lot, but sad they don't implement it at all with the rest of the sinners, that it almost looks like they aren't getting punished at all and just seem to be doing whatever the fuck they want. No consequences at all. Which also ponders the question of why would anyone want to get redeemed when in hell they have the liberty to do whatever the fuck they want. But that's another can of worms I don't wish to touch on right now. So I still feel like every sinner should have a punishment of their own attached to their own sins. But alright, the angels finally go visit Charlie and decide to make a proper appearance at Vox's rally. But it kinda throws itself off again. Like, why can't Pentious go back to hell again? And why can't they just show him as living evidence that redemption is real? Like him peeking over the portal or something. I don't know why is that it's impossible. I mean, the angels can freely go to hell. Charlie was able to go to heaven, even with her being the daughter of a fallen angel, and Vaggi being a fallen angel was able to go as well. Why would hell not let Pentious get in when people that were banished from heaven were able to go back to heaven? I don't know. Maybe everyone in this universe is just stupid? This just gets reinforced with just the characters acting stupid all over again. I don't know how they think Sawi was going to be enough to forgive a literal genocide, but alright, I already mentioned my thoughts earlier on this scene. Vox is a really good character, possibly one of the best in the show. It uses his role as a TV host to keep on showing that the media and propaganda can really manipulate the crowd. I mean, isn't that what it's all about? Being able to spin everything, even the stuff that he isn't prepared for, is a huge skill needed as one. It really fits him as a TV host. Though him pointing out just how stupid the entire plan is, as well as the show acknowledging it really just feels cheap for me. Like the writer saying, yeah, we made her like this is totally intended, while not giving a rather natural progression. The fact that she confronts Vox not one, not two, but three times without a solid plan is not justifiable in the slightest after dealing with them for so long. And no, going and saying I'm sorry is not a plan too, but I feel like this does fall into her more naive side. But as I said, they're dealing with Vox, I don't need to repeat myself again. At this point, Charlie should know this ain't gonna work, ma'am, and not even telling the angels who are they dealing with just baffles me. They end up looking like idiots and Charlie starts playing Lucifer on everything falling apart when even if he didn't show up, the word Seraphim said we're still pretty bad on its own for the entire event to go as it did. I mean, admitting that she, who was supposed to have come here to set things right, was directly involved in the exterminations is not gonna put you in a good spot. So Charlie just blaming it on Lucifer felt forced. Bro just got straight serious, man. He really did nothing wrong and it was just his stupid daughter doing more stupid decisions. Sure, it's kind of valid, but at the same time it's not. Media overlord guy. Don't need to repeat myself too many times to understand going to him without an ounce of preparation is stupid. Charlie and Vaggi fight, which, in Charlie's defense, just letting her do whatever she wants when she has clearly seen it hasn't been working out is not, you're not listening to me. Even more when she didn't even consult with Charlie the plans to have Lucifer scare them off. This entire conflict is just, what's another word for stupid, unintelligent. I'm getting tired of using the same word. None of these characters have communicated enough to justify such a scene. Vaggi barely talks up to Charlie and the few times she does, she just lets her do what she wants, not even trying a bit more. A good example is in episode 5, Vaggi tries to make Charlie understand that she is dealing with Vox. She should drop everything and keep working on the hotel, but it's the only time she tries to get to her. All the other times she just stays quiet after a while, or doesn't even try to catch up to her and reason with her. That ain't trying, ma'am, that's just being there, I guess. If you really wanted to put some sense into her, you would have at least tried a bit more, but everything to have a mid-season conflict, I guess. I feel like this show doesn't justify enough these actions of the characters and thinks that with these half-ass displays is enough to make for a bigger conflict. But anyways, after this, the show picks up again for me. Husk's song, Love in a Bottle, is possibly my favorite of the season, possibly of both seasons. I genuinely love the song, as well as Losing Streak this episode. Both of them are definitely the highlight of the season for me, with Don't You Forget up there too. And look, at least I like the way that this entire conflict with Charlie and Vaggi ended. I would have liked for Charlie to have been the one to approach Vaggi after the comments Carmela said really seemed to make Vaggi uncomfortable. After all, Charlie was the one that has been screwing up so much since the second episode, and it would have been nice for her to have been the one to let go of the stubbornness she had at the beginning of the episode and apologize to Vaggi, show a bit of her development instead of babying her. But alright, it wouldn't really change anything, it's just something I would have liked and that's it. At least Charlie came to her senses and finally starts thinking with a clear head. Her entire character arc this season really does her a disservice how exaggerated her flaws were shown without giving a more justifiable explanation to them. And hopefully this doesn't happen next season and it gives her a more organic character arc. Angel and Husk keep on proving that they are the best relationship in the story. Something about their interactions ever since the first season has always been the biggest highlight of the show for me. After all, Angel is a clear example of a sinner that wants to be redeemed. All the more sadder that Angel is revealed to have been the real spy of the hotel, a genuinely surprising plot twist that really caught me off guard. I liked it. It does diminish a bit the entire Vox can turn everything that's thrown to him thing that I said earlier, knowing he has been anticipating everything, but it still shows that Vox is a very menacing character. It builds up its threat level. And after this we get Vox's backstory, which I'm not gonna lie, I would have hoped he did a lot more than just kill, kill, kill. I mean, entertainment guy and shit could have been a bit more creative with his scenes, but I'll get that later. Anyways, so knowing Alastor is baiting Vox to set everything up to break his deal at the rewatch, it's nice to see everything fall into place. However, I also don't like what they're doing with Valentino. I genuinely hate him. The story aims at portraying Valentino as a fucking rapist that deserves nothing but a darkest pit of hell, but at the same time it contradicts itself in portraying Val as this abuser that has feelings and can be hurt. I'll also get to him in a minute, but the big day has finally arrived. Charlie steals Alastor was finally used to stroke Vox's ego more and breaks Alastor's deal with Rosie, with Charlie's declaration of Vox being the strongest in hell. Alastor gets injured once again and is saved by Emily before getting obliterated. Vox gets too full of himself and goes power hungry to later on get collapsed by the Vees. The weapon overcharges a lot and is going to explode, eviscerating everything in there, but gets contained by the more relevant people there, yada yada. Pentious is finally shown in hell. Angel goes back to Valentino, rejected to go back to the hotel after his betrayal, or quote unquote, and the hotel gets packed again after these events, ending the season with a let us call. As I said at the very beginning, Season 2 mocks Season 1 completely, and it's not even close. It had its highs, but at the same time, it's big lows. Charlie, the entire redemption thingy, and how underdeveloped the conflict felt in my opinion, as well as Lute's plotline just ending abruptly for the season. Definitely setting her up for a future conflict, but with the amount of setup she was getting and her song getting reprised before the final battle just to not do shit in said final battle, definitely makes it feel underwhelming. I get that it's set up for a future season, but don't set her up too much if she isn't gonna do shit the entire season, as well as how they toy around with how they project the Valentino on the show. Such a minor thing that opens up another big part of the plot of the show. Can every sinner be redeemed? Let me ask you this. Do you see Valentino being redeemed and entering the pearly gates of heaven? Was how Valentino was set up last season, being a rapist and an abuser among more fucked up things, seeing everyone as a thing than a person, perfectly encapsulating his type of people. I'm gonna say it. The show will have to pull the greatest fucking blowjob known to man to convince me that he can be redeemed. It's a concept that the story will have to address later on, and with how it's been trying to paint Val as a rapist that has feelings, it's not gonna do it to me in the slightest. And frankly enough, even if it pulls with style suffer the same in Earth and is a venting out here in hell backstory the writers could pull to make the viewers have some sympathy, it's not gonna work for me. He's hoping no. If the writers wanted to pull this shit on here, they should have at least allured to it like with Angel drowning in drugs and pleasure to avoid thinking about his fucked up life. Val legitimately enjoys what he has, so trying to pull the coping card isn't gonna work at all with a non-existent setup for that, as well as the story has to acknowledge that not everyone can or wants to be redeemed. Some people will never forget the atrocities they committed, and if given a second chance, they will do better, but to not get caught or do things smarter to be able to keep on doing the fucked up shit they did. It's a thing that the show has to address, and hopefully it will not pull the shitty everybody can be redeemed card, because even if it goes against the very theme of the story, some people will never regret the shit they have done. It's a very complex topic that the show has to address later on, and if not done correctly, it can really upset a lot of people. Moving on to a rather minor complaint. I feel so fucking stale. Same boring look as always. Could have made it look a bit nicer, taking a bit of inspiration from the Divine Comedy and made the 9 circles of hell, having it look like Saturn or something like that, but with each ring being a circle of hell of sorts with their own quirk and shit. Not that hard to make hell look more interesting. I mean, you get those city shots and it just looks so fucking ass, man. It's sad, not because it's hell and everything there should be miserable, but because it looks bad, as well as the past few backstories have not really been that creative. It's fucking hell. You can do more than that. It's not really something to complain about, but at least try to be more creative with these backstories. Vox could have been a manipulator given his entire role as an entertainer. Alastor could have tortured his victims, and Pentious does seem like the only one that wouldn't change that much. But I hope that on the next season, the show can try to be more creative with his characters' backstories than just a killing montage and calling it a day. As well, for an entire show that its main premise is redemption, it really doesn't explore that too much. It was only relevant to the season until episode 3. There's 8 episodes. Yeah, I know, conflicts and such, but everything really shadows the entire reason of the show to begin with. I'm not saying that the show should only be of that, but to space out its plots and premises more to not lose sight of what the main goal is. The hotel is heavily underused to actually show a true plot of redemption 2 seasons in. They could have done something similar to what they did with Angel, but more unique to the sense related to the characters that want to be redeemed, not only the main cast, but to make other characters come into play that can work to the path of redemption. Not as some joke about therapy circle that the show referenced this season. I have seen this hotel get full on empty enough that it shocks me that the writers don't use this to develop newer characters and explore more sinners, as well as showing real issues that come when trying to change and become a better person. The hotel is full again, and I hope it gets more exposition next season than the typical got full but everybody leaves because of X thing trope that the story has already used. Overall, I don't know how to feel about this season. It definitely feels more polished than the last season, but its flaws are shown more than just being pacing issues like last season. A bunch of build-ups for future seasons that, if they don't amount to much, it will feel like a huge waste of time that could have been used to flesh out other things in the show. I really hope next season improves in this now that they've been greenlit more seasons and truly explore their characters more without over-exaggerating them. They should have really come up with more jokes because on the binge watch, the constant swearing and sex jokes gets really fucking tiring. Hopefully, next season is better than the last two. My name is Notofucker, and all I have to say left is like, subscribe, and good night.